Solving rational equations. So we've gone through simplifying, multiplying, dividing, graphing. Now let's solve some. So let's look at what this brown panda, Quasi, is the world's only brown panda. Abandoned as a baby, he has a very rare genetic mutation that changed the color of his fur. Though other pandas used to bully him for being different, he now lives in a sanctuary and has his own personal caretakers. Honestly, that's so sad. Don't bully people. Everyone is different from everyone in so many different ways. Just don't bully each other. It's rude. Anyway, restrictions. Okay. So solving these restrictions, we've kind of already figured out what the restrictions are. These are what makes the denominator equal 0. So these are what creates holes and what creates vertical asymptotes. So you can't divide by 0 because all of this crazy, all this crazy stuff happens. Okay, you cannot divide by 0. So that's where we come up with restrictions. Restrictions, these are the same as when we were graphing these would have been our vertical asymptotes and our holes. Okay, those are the restrictions because that's where we're dividing by 0. So for this one, 7 over x minus 6, to find the restriction, we would just set the bottom equal to 0, so x can't equal 6. Okay, this one, 1 over 2x, well, that would be x can't equal 0. This one, we'd factor it first, and it'd be x can't equal 0, and x can't equal -2. This one, factor it, see what multiplies by 2, adds to -3, which then we'd get a restriction of 2 and of 1. Okay? This one, so I'm going to factor out that x cubed. That one gives us a restriction of 0, and this is a restriction of 3. Okay, these are really important when solving these. So when we solve this right here, we first always state the restrictions. So from that, we get that x cannot equal 6. And from this one, we get that x cannot equal 0. Now, when we have one fraction on each side of the equal sign, these ones are actually pretty easy. All we're going to do is cross multiply. Okay, so we're just going to cross multiply this, which we'd get 7 times x equals 4 times x minus 6. Now remember, you can only cross multiply over an equal sign. That's the only time that you can cross multiply, because really what we're doing here is I'm multiplying this side by x and x minus 6, and I'm multiplying this side by x and x minus 6. So here the x's cancel, which is why we're just left with the x minus 6. Here the x minus 6's cancel, which is why I'm left with 7 times x. That is why we are allowed to cross multiply. Okay. And then we can just solve this equation. So we have 7x equals 4x minus 24. Subtract that 4x, you get 3x equals -24. Divide by 3, you get x equals -8. Then we just have to check the restrictions. -8 is not 6 or 0, so we're good. This one, cross multiply, or before cross multiply, find your restrictions. So that's going to be a can't equal 8. This is a can't equal -1/2. Cross multiply this. So we get 3 times 2a plus 1 equals 7 times a minus 8. So that's 6a plus 3 equals 7a minus 56. So that we solve that, you end up getting -a equals -59. So a equals 59. Okay. This one. So first restrictions, r can't equal 1 and r can't equal 0. Then we're going to cross multiply this. We end up with r times r equals 4 times r minus 1. So that's r squared equals 4r minus 4. You have to solve this by factoring. Okay. So this is going to be r squared minus 4r plus 4 equals 0. So what multiplies to be 4 adds to -4, -2, and -2. So that's r minus 2, r minus 2. which you could write as r minus 2 squared. So set that equal to 0, and you get r equals 2. Okay. All right, let's do another one. So this one right here. 2 cannot equal 0. Duh, that's not even a restriction. That's just like a duh statement. This one is x can't equal negative 4. Then we can cross multiply this. So we have 2x minus 3 times x plus 4, and that equals 3. Multiply the left out, and you get 2x squared plus 5x minus 12 equals 6. Subtract that 6 over, and you get 2x squared plus 5x minus 18 equals 0. Now we have to factor this, and I'm going to do it by multiplying that, and you get negative 36 and 5, which is going to be 9 and negative 4. So that's going to be 2x squared plus 9x minus 4x minus 18. Group the first two, group the second two. You can plot an x in the first ones, plot a negative 2 in the second ones. So I get x times 2x plus 9 minus 2 times 2x plus 9. So our factors are 2x plus 9 and x minus 2. And those are equal to 0. So then we set that equal to 0. You get x equals negative 9 halves. This equals to 0. You get x equals 2. Okay. Cool. Let's do one other type. So now we're going to do it using least common denominator. So that means the smallest common denominator that we can find. Okay, the least common denominator really is just the smallest common denominator. So if we look at 4 over 3 minus 7 over n equals 1 over 6. Well, now we have multiple fractions on the left. So we could like rearrange this and get it to just be one fraction. But we could also do this just getting the smallest common denominator. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute that subtraction sign. Always distribute the subtraction. And then I need to find my restriction, so n can't equal 0. And now I'm going to find the common denominator. So between 3n and 6, well, obviously we're going to have an n in there. And then 3 goes into 6, so the common denominator is going to be 6n. And a way to check this is we could do 6n divided by 3. That goes in evenly. Perfect. We could do 6n divided by n. Well, that just equals 6. Awesome. And we could do 6n divided by 6, which would just equal n. So that means this works. Okay. So now I'm going to take that common denominator and I'm going to multiply it to every fraction here. So I'm going to have 6n times 4 over 3 plus 6n times negative 7 over n equals 6n times 1 over 6. And if it helps, we can put those over 1. And then we could look at these individually. So like I could look at this, and look at this, and simplify them individually. Because like here, 3 goes into 6 twice. N cancels n here, and 6 cancels 6 here. So when we do this, those cancel, giving us 2. Those cancel, and those cancel. So I'm left with everything on the bottom cancels, and I'm only left with the numerators. Okay. So I'm left with 2n times 4 plus 6 times negative 7 equals n times 1. So that's 8n minus 42 equals n. So negative 7n equals negative 42. So n equals 6. Okay, not too bad. Let's do another. So this one right here, first distribute that subtraction sign. Then we need to find our restrictions. So that's going to be v can't equal 0 for all of those ones. Then we have to find our least common denominator. So we're going to have a v squared. And then 2 and 3, those both go into 6. Okay, because 6v squared can be divided by 3v and 2v squared. Okay, and then I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply it to all 3 terms there. So we have 6v squared times 4 over 3v plus 6v squared times negative 1 over v equals 6v squared times v plus 2 over 2v squared. So in that first one, 3 cancels the 6, leaving us with a 2, and then those v's cancel, so we just have one v on top. Here, one of the v's cancel, and in that last one, this 2 goes into 6 3 times, and the v squareds cancel. So I'm left with 2v times 4 plus 6v times -1 equals 3 times v plus 2. And then that's a pretty simple equation to solve. It's going to be 8v minus 6v equals 3v plus 6. So that's 2v equals 3v plus 6. So that's -v equals 6. So v equals -6. Okay, let's do one more. Another one. My boyfriend says that all the time. This is the stupidest thing. I don't know why I put it on there. Anyways. Okay, so w plus 16 over w equals 10. So if we want to find a common denominator here, we'll first find our restriction. Then our common denominator would just be w, right? So that first one's going to be w times w plus w times 16 over w equals w times 10. So that's going to be, those w's cancel there, and I'm left with w squared plus 16 equals 10w. Subtract that 10w, and I get w squared minus 10w plus 16 equals 0. Factors to w minus 8 and w minus 2. So that equals w equals 8 and w equals 2. Cool? Bye.